This is a story of Christmas, of a man, Ebenezer Scrooge, who hated Christmas, but learned to love it, or rather, was taught to love it. Nobody liked Scrooge. He was a mean old man. He loved no one and he gave nothing. He despised merriment and happiness. He was as cold as the cold grave. One Christmas Eve, Scrooge was given a chance to change, a chance to live. Will he take it? Well, that's up to you. It was cold, biting weather, and Scrooge sat in his counting house. He was determined to wring the last few hours of work out of his clerk, Bob Cratchit, before the Christmas holiday began. Bob sat shivering in his corner of the office. His fire was almost out and he ached for some warmth. He longed for the clock to strike 6, the signal that he could finally go home. For tomorrow was Christmas Day and Bob loved Christmas. But as he looked up at the hands of the clock, they seemed to go slower and slower. Bob put a piece of coal into the fire and immediately began to feel warmer. Scrooge glared at him, but Bob was writing in his ledger as though nothing had happened. Luckily, at that very moment, the door swung open, and in walked the old man's nephew, Fred. "Merry Christmas, Uncle!" cried Fred cheerily. "I have come to invite you to Christmas dinner." Scrooge was having none of it. "Bah humbug!" came the sour reply. But Fred wasn't put off so easily, and he promised his uncle that if he changed his mind, the invitation would remain open. With that he left, wishing Bob Cratchit a Merry Christmas on the way. "And a Merry Christmas to you too," called Bob with a cheery smile. Scrooge was furious when he discovered his clerk had been playing games instead of working. But once again, Bob was saved by circumstances. For at that very moment, two gentlemen collecting donations for the poor came visiting. Scrooge growled and sent them packing, empty-handed with another "Bah humbug." Bob felt sorry for the gentleman, but was delighted when the clock announced it was finally time to go home. He wished Scrooge a Merry Christmas and danced out of the grim office. Scrooge muttered, put on his hat and scarf, and ventured out into the city. Scrooge left his office in high spirits. Twice he had rebuffed Christmas cheer. He allowed himself a wry smile. Little did he know that his good mood was about to change. A ghostly hearse rushed towards Scrooge. Thinking it a very ill omen, he hurried on upstairs. Scrooge was relieved to be home at last. As was his custom every evening, he sat down to a bowl of gruel. It was the cheapest way of warming his old bones. This evening he hoped it would also banish the peculiar events of his journey home.